Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be having a look at the Spaceship Voyager platform. Spaceship Voyager is an investment platform that allows users to put in lump sums of money and buy units into two portfolios. One's an index portfolio and another one is a managed portfolio. And we'll be having a look at the benefits that they offer, the fees associated with using them, and other features that they have to offer. So if you haven't signed up to Spaceship and you feel like you want to check it out a bit more, feel free to follow the link in the description. So firstly here we can see there's a big focus on simplicity with their platform. Very easy to get started, very intuitive to use, and got a very simplistic nature about the application. They also provide a variety of news articles on the companies in which they invest in, which is great to allow you to track and be informed about the reports and also upcoming information around new product lines that are coming out for the companies, just so you can get your head around exactly what the companies that you're invested are doing, and potentially if they've got good growth opportunities and that sort of thing. And we also can see here that you can get exposure to at least 100 companies with a single investment, and they're able to do that because the way in which the Spaceship Voyager platform is set up is when you invest money into the platform, you buy something called a unit. And these units are worth a fixed amount of money and they're diversified into multiple companies. And we'll look at that in a bit more detail later on. So here are the two portfolios that Spaceship offer. The first one is their Spaceship Index portfolio, which aims to track the market as opposed to beating it. They actually don't invest in exchange traded funds to do this, which is quite an interesting and a unique way relative to some of the other micro investing platforms out there, such as Raise, which we've also covered on the channel. With this portfolio, they invest in some Australian, so domestic stocks, and also a wide variety of international stocks with an accumulative total of 200. And so you can have a look at exactly what those companies are. We've got a little bit of a teaser here with all the, maybe 15 or something like that of the top 200 companies that they're investing in. And then also on the right hand side, the other portfolio that they offer is Spaceship Universe portfolio. So this isn't as much of an index portfolio, but rather they've got an investment team that handpicks 100 companies, and they pick those companies on the basis that they are potentially going to outperform the market. So they'll do research and analysis on those companies and pick them in efforts to outperform the market. And so those are the two product offerings from Spaceship, and they both have different objectives and potentially different returns and fees associated with it. So before we go any further, just an important note is that where Spaceship don't actually offer a web application, you can only invest through either an iOS or Android device and make adjustments to your investment through that. So if you're looking to jump onto this platform, and you will need an iOS or Android device. So here you can see they've provided us with a simple compound interest calculator that allows us to compute some of the expected returns over a period of time. So if we have a look here, it's on the basis of a return rate of 6% per annum, and if we had an initial investment of $1,000. Over here, we can adjust the frequency if we were looking to make a recurring investment, either weekly, fortnightly, or monthly. And then the amount that we want to invest during that frequency, we can also adjust. So for a quick example here, we'll have the frequency set to month, and we'll also have the investment plan to set to $1,000 per month. And if that was the case, we can see here, if our one-off investment would be originally $1,000 and then constantly contributing $1,000 per month, we can see that that will eventually accumulate to $462,753 after 20 years. So quite a substantial amount after that period of time. But I'd also make the argument that that 6% per annum is quite conservative, and you probably could expect higher returns through the types of investments that Spaceship are offering with their two portfolios. But this gives you quite a good understanding of the baseline of what you could get if you were to hold these assets long term. Here we can see that they've already accumulated 45,000 new investors. Spaceship's not that old and is one of the newer players when it comes to micro investing. Now looking at the important things, which is cost. So this is where Spaceship really stands out relative to its competitors, is the fees associated with the products that they're offering. So firstly, we can see here, if you have a balance below 5,000, you won't pay any fees whatsoever. So no management fees, no contribution fees. Your first $5,000 is completely free, which is quite phenomenal, especially if you don't have large upfront capital to invest. You won't be stung with any fees, which is quite impressive. Then if we look at balances above 5,000, which for the Spaceship Index portfolio, you're charged 0.05%, which is extraordinarily low. And then for the actively managed Spaceship Universe portfolio, we will be charged 0.1%. So both very low fees associated with both portfolios. The Spaceship Index slightly lower, but overall very, very competitive fees relative to the rest of the market. So just looking here on the About Us section of their website, we can see their missions laid out here, which is Spaceship is an Australian financial services company whose mission is to enable you to invest in your future so you can live the life you want to live. Spaceship sees a future where everyone is actively engaged in building a strong and secure financial future for themselves. Spaceship leverages its proprietary technology with the aim of removing friction, cost, and complexity from financial products it offers. And if we scroll down here, we can also see that Spaceship offer a super-based product. I won't be covering that today because that's a completely separate thing, just under the same brand name, but they do offer a super product. So if you are interested, feel free to do a bit of investigation on that yourself. If we just have a look here, we can also see that it was launched in April 2018. And scrolling down, we can see they've got a bit of a timeline associated with what they've been doing. So Spaceship was founded in July 2016, so quite fresh, especially when it was actually launched to the public in 2018. And they achieved 30,000 customers in the first 6 months. And now they've currently got 290 million in assets under management, which is quite a significant amount, and they have 25 full-time employees. And I guess the velocity of this company is indicative of a company that is well managed and is able to meet and exceed the customer's expectation when it comes to the product and service that they're providing. So all good indicators when it comes to the management and also the product that they're currently providing to their customers. So I'm just here on the product disclosure statement of the Spaceship Index portfolio. So I won't actually go into the universe, but they are relatively similar. So Spaceship is a managed investment scheme and a unit trust. This is the important piece here. When you invest, you'll get units in the fund. So this is how they distribute the assets to you in a sense. So as an investor, you acquire units in the fund. A unit represents a proportional benefit interest in the fund's assets as a whole, but not to any particular assets. You can increase your investment by acquiring units in the funds or decrease your investment by withdrawing your investment and therefore redeeming units in the fund. So when you buy into the fund, you are buying units. You're not actually buying the underlying asset, but those units are linked to the assets themselves. So in buying units, you then have a beneficial interest in the fund's assets as a whole. So it just allows you to invest in smaller amounts rather than buying the assets at their full capital price, and therefore you own proportions of each of those assets. And those units are then valued based on the net asset value of the entire company asset holdings within the managed investment scheme. So for example, if the company owned 100 million in assets, and there was 100 million units, each of those units would be worth $1. So just having a look here around how they invest the money that's provided to the index portfolio. The fund's asset allocation is made up of shares in 100 of the largest Australian securities exchange companies by market capitalisation and 100 of some of the largest companies by market capitalisation that are listed on overseas stock exchanges, with an allowance for cash to efficiently manage the fund to minimise trading costs. The fund does not invest in ETFs or LICs, so ETFs being exchange traded funds and LICs being listed investment companies. Here's a bit of a breakdown of the pie chart that you can expect your funds to be going to. So about 70 to 80 on international stocks, and then we've got about 15 to 25 on domestic, and then 0 to 10% in cash. The investment objective is to provide investment returns that, before fees and taxes, track the performance of reference indices. They suggest you should hold the asset for 5 years. Personally, I would suggest you'd hold it for at least 10 or more. Ideally, the longer you hold it, the more return and compounding you're going to achieve through this particular investment. And just to reiterate the fees part of this particular portfolio, we can see the contribution fee is none. For every additional 5,000 you put in, you'll also be charged $0. So there's no contribution fee whatsoever. So that's when you actually buy the units themselves, you will not be stung with a fee. When it comes to management costs, sub 5,000, no fees. Then everything above that will be charged 0.05% per year. And here we can see an exact breakdown of, for example, if you were to have $50,000 invested, you'd be paying $22.50 per annum, because you wouldn't be paying 0.05 on the full 50, you'd only be paying 0.05 on the 45,000, because the initial 5,000 is exempt from the fees. So once you've managed to successfully sign up and log into the Spaceship app, you'll be presented with an interface similar to this. I personally went for the index portfolio, and if you went with the alternative, your interface might be customized slightly. But firstly, here we can see that it's providing us with the index unit price, which is the price of the unit for that particular portfolio. It currently sits at $1.15 for the index, and that's up 10.3% on the year. In addition to that, above we can see our balance and performance figures, as well as any investment plan that we've set up. At the current moment, I don't have any funds in the Spaceship platform, but I'm looking to invest over the next couple of months. If we scroll down here, we've also been provided with a number of articles, some provided by Spaceship themselves and others by third parties, just allowing you to keep up your investing knowledge and also get a bit of an understanding of what's happening in the industry at the moment. If we head over to the companies tab, this is where we can see all of the companies that the index portfolio is currently invested in. And it gives you a percentage return on the right-hand side that's correlated with the company. And so you can get a bit of an understanding of how each of the individual holdings that make up the index portfolio are doing. If we jump into a company individually, we can see we can get a bit more of a breakdown of the performance of that company, and we can adjust the range in which we want that performance to be shown. So 10 years, we can go for just a month or a year to date, for example, just to give you a bit more of an understanding over a time span around how that company has been growing. If we scroll down a bit, we can get a bit more insight into the company's stats, such as the company's size, the current share price, and also the target allocation. So the target allocation represents the percentage that share makes up of the total index. So in this instance, A2 Milk makes up 0.2% of the total index portfolio. Furthermore, if we scroll down a bit further, we can see we've been provided with a bit more information around the company, what it does, and what its business model is. And so if you want to get a bit more of an understanding of exactly what the companies you're investing in are doing, you can just jump into each of the individual profiles and give it a bit of a read. Heading over to the account tab, this is where you update your personal information, your tax file number for tax purposes, and will adjust your recurring investments. And in the event you want to withdraw from the fund, you can also do that via here. Other than that, there's not much else to the app. It's very simple, very straightforward, very easy to use, and very easy to get started. So they've got a big emphasis on simplicity with this app and not clugging the app with convoluted features. And they're just making it very simple and straightforward and focusing on the objective of easy investing. So overall, I think Spaceship definitely offer a quite compelling product, especially when their fees are so low relative to competitors in the market, especially those who are looking to invest less than $5,000. It's quite important to note that the impact of fees on your investment over a significant period of time can have quite a large, negative impact on your returns. So Spaceship are definitely moving in the right direction by having their fees at such a low rate. I'd probably recommend this product to anyone that doesn't have a significant amount of investment experience and just wants to gain exposure to the stock market, both domestically and internationally. It's quite an easy way to jump into the stock market and gain that level of exposure and also earn some decent returns on your money. So if you like what you saw today and enjoyed the video, please feel free to leave a like and subscribe, and also check out the link in the description to get signed up if you haven't already. Cheers.